When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun.
Hello beautiful people, we're doing an outdoor refresh today with ArtStart DIY and we're starting with a cantilever umbrella. Hi, I'm Derryn and this is my disgusting old umbrella which I just painted with some fabric paint. You can actually buy spray paint for fabric. It looks okay, it's not fantastic, but it is better than it was because it was kind of looking grey, so at least it looks black again. Now I've got this fringe, it's 25 centimetre black fringe from Spotlight, and I'm gluing it on with hot glue and it's working really well. Using these little clips, it tends to spin around on itself, so if you can clip it on with even with some clothes pegs, it would help it stop spinning. Always got to have time for a little swim. It was 36 degrees when I was doing this, it was pretty hot. For my American friends, that's like up 100 or something or more, I think. So there's the little umbrella, that's all we did to it. Now I'm going to make this outdoor light with an old hanging basket, spray painting it with some black spray paint. And then I've got a plug-in light, plug-in pendant that I got from Amazon, and just drilling 4 holes north, south, east, west on it with my drill and using the cable ties to attach it. And of course put the globe in, sealed it all up, did all the cable ties, cut the ends off, and then remembered, oh that's right, I bought a special globe to go out here, which is a music globe. It's really cool. It's only about $20 from Amazon, and I'd also missed a bit of paint on that I needed to spray. So there's that LED. It's got a remote control and you can listen to your music through it. So it's got pretty good sound actually. So that's it. It's hanging from the rafters, but don't mind the spiders there. Now I'm going to make the easiest side table you've ever made. You buy a round like this from Bunnings. I got these 4 legs from Amazon, but I thought they were a bit too many to have, it was a bit much to have 4 legs on this tiny little table, so I just did 3. Don't do what I did though. I measured 4 centimeters in from the edge for those brackets to go. I should have probably just done about 2 centimeters. I mean, it's stable, but I prefer it to be a little bit more stable, so I am going to probably move them out to that edge. Now here I'm just giving you a little lesson in drilling. For those people that don't know how to drill, you start off slowly like this and then you can speed up. You don't start at full power when you're starting off. It just makes it so it goes in easier and you don't skip all over your wood and scratch it and things. You're also keeping your drill at a 90-degree angle to your wood, so straight up and down in this case, so that your holes go in straight and your screws will go in straight then as well. Now I did measure how deep I wanted the holes to be and put a little bit of tape on my drill to mark how deep I wanted to go. So yes, that is my sweat. It was, as I said, really hot this day, and yeah, I ended up waiting for that to dry and then sprayed the bottom actually just so it was protected, and then I screwed in all of the screws into the legs. They had these little plastic stoppers on the bottom of them as well, and I decided to sand the top and just take the edge off the table because I was hoping that that would sort of encourage any water that gets on it to run off. And then put this spray. I did quite a few coats of this spray as well, so I don't bore you with that. This is my mess that I'm dealing up, and now a little public service announcement. You've got to drink your water, especially when it's as hot as it gets here in Australia. So drink your water if you haven't today. Drink some more. It's good for you. Okay, now the pool fence refresh. So here I am using a watering can as my water to wash this down. I had previously done it with the power washer, but we ran out of water a week or 2 before this, which we haven't done in 10 years that we've been here. So I was trying to conserve a little bit more water and use that to clean off the fence. Let that dry, and then you can see I'm holding some big pieces of cardboard behind. It's easier if you do this with two people. What I ended up doing there is I lent it onto the filter that's down there, and then I used trees as the background to hold the cardboard for me, and a chair as well, and that worked pretty well. So here you can see the difference. Not a great deal of difference, and it just looks cleaner and made me happy. So I started spray painting everything, didn't I? These are my zero gravity chairs. These are great if you've got a sore back. I'm just touching up the paint on all the metal work there, and then I'm going to make some new covers. Now I know everybody's doing grey for their outdoors and all that. I've lived with these grey covers for the last 10 years, so I'm over grey. So I'm going to do this very colourful tapestry fabric, which is from Spotlight. It's very heavy duty upholstery fabric, this one. And what I'm doing is just using my old gravity chair covers as a pattern and just working out where my seams will go and how much fabric I need and everything. And that's, I mean, I've got this table. I don't particularly like this table, but it's fantastic for cutting out fabric. Here's where I make a mistake. When you do these, and you'll see it in a minute, we do a little box seam at the top, like you do in a handbag or a bag to get it to stand upright. I do that on the side seams of the top part of the cover, and I really should have added another 10 centimeters to allow for that, because it does take up quite a bit of fabric when you do that. So mine are a little bit short on the top cover, but hey, live and learn. I do actually have enough fabric to redo the whole things, but not today. So here I'm cutting out the length that will go down the legs of the cover, and then I'm cutting out two, of course, because I've got two chairs to cover, and just making it really easy for myself, because they've got these lines I've cut out using that. And so I've got 2 centimeter seams on everything, because this fabric's really thick. I'm going to put a walking foot on my machine. Very simply, just undo the screw and pop the piece off, and then put this walking foot on. So much easier when you're dealing with heavy fabrics. This is a quilter's tool. Here I'm doing that little box seam. So you sew the seam, fold it so it makes a triangle, and then sew down. I did 4 centimeters down, and then cut the end off. I'll show you again here. So you sew the side seam, fold it so it makes a triangle, then sew down 4 centimeters and cut the end off, and that forms that little box, so it'll sit nice on top of your chairs, and it'll have the width so that it'll go down easily. And I'm doing it twice, of course, because I've got 2 chairs. Again, make the little triangle, sew, and then trim the end off. It's a great little tool, that hemming tool I've got there, that little black and red tool. Fantastic thing to have just when you want to check your seams and you don't want to pull out a whole tape measure. So here I'm just going to sew the bottom, turn it up just 2 centimeters, and I'm going to do that all the way down both sides of the leg piece. And you can see I can eyeball sort of 2 centimeters, but I still do check it just to make sure, and pin it, and then sew down both sides of the leg piece. Now if you've noticed that little square to the right of my sewing foot there, that is a magnetic metal guide that helps you to sew straight seams. So you set it at whatever width you measure whatever width you're going to sew your seam, and then it makes it really easy. It just guides the fabric there for you. So I'm just continuing to sew these side seams of sew them over. Now here I'm measuring the middle of the top part of the cover and pinning the bottom part, so we're going to sew that together with a seam. And what's going to happen then is you'll have a part that will turn under at the back, so that you can see, I don't know, my camera dropped down, sorry about this, but I'm just, the back part of the front cover, the top cover, sorry, you're just turning the hem up 2 centimeters there. It's because I sewed a 2 centimeter hem on the bottom to the top. Hope that makes sense. There we go. You can't really see it there. So then we're going to make some tabs to add to the bottom of the covers to attach them. Now normally you would fold it over, but because this fabric is so thick, I'm showing you here how to just fold it in half like this to make a little tab. So fold it to the middle and then fold it in half, and then we're going to stitch down one side. So just 5 millimeters from the end, and then so right down the side, and then do a little 5 millimeters at that end as well. And what that'll do, I'll just have a little sort of hem fringe on the bottom. I kind of just fringe the end of it up to where it was sewn. Now when I actually put these on, I think they're a bit thick. I think they're a bit too thick actually, so I might change them to something else as well. I just made a little pillow here. We've made enough cushions on this channel. Go back up, I'll link it for you if you need to know how to make a pillow. This one I just sewed the side seams and stuffed it full of polyfill. Now I've got these wooden coasters and I've got these wooden pieces, and I've just picked colours out from the fabric, and I'm just painting all of them different colours to make some resin coasters. Now this is the first time I've done resin, and I can't say I was particularly thrilled with it. It's just, it's like pouring glue and that's it really. I painted this colour here. I shouldn't have done that. I mean, it was like one of the main colours in the fabric. It just made them too dark. I think if you see the fabric on the chairs, you'll notice that it kind of reads white, even though it's got all these colours in it. It's got a kind of whiteness to it. So I really should have painted the background of these white, and they would have sort of gone together better. But anyway, I'm putting a little dot of hot glue just so that they don't float around in the resin, and gluing those down. And I tried a bit of fabric too, but the fabric was just way too thick. It was thicker than the sides of the thing, so it sticks out a bit. It didn't work at all. It was just a test. I was just trying it to see. Now of course, don't waste your paint. If you've got some paper that you can scrape your paint onto and do a little bit of collage paper, get some interesting patterns and things if you scrape it on with a stick. So we'll take these over to my encaustic table. Always wear a respirator when using resin. It's very dangerous. People have got really ill from it, so just be aware of that. You want gloves on as well, and just be really careful with it. You just measure equal parts. This one is an equal part one. There's all different types, so read your instructions on yours. You're supposed to stir it for 3 minutes, which I did, but I did it very vigorously, and you can see all the air bubbles in there. I did try putting the heat gun on it in a minute to get rid of some of the air bubbles, but there's still some left, and there's my big head in the way. Just filling in. I wanted to make sure that all the insides of the wooden pieces got it in. That's why I'm sort of playing around with a stick with it. What I should have done was just fill this hole up, this first one up from the 40 mils that I made, because it would have taken all of that. What I didn't realise at the time until I sort of saw these drying was that my table had become unbalanced. I use encaustic wax I paint with, and the table has to be perfectly level, otherwise your wax goes everywhere. Well, the same kind of thing happened with this resin. My table had become unbalanced, so I had to rebalance everything to make sure that they didn't start running off the edges, which they did on one of them. And I did let them dry overnight. I'm not sure how long you need to let them dry, but I just left them overnight, sort of sanding off that bit where it ran over the edge. So then I thought, I'll paint the edges gold. Again, mistake. Probably should have done that white. It would have looked better. But this is an experiment. And of course, when using this kind of gold paint, you always need to do 2 coats. One coat is never enough with this. And I did buy these little cacti from IKEA and these little pots from the reject shop, and popped some moss in from Spotlight in the top of those. So here's our little table and our coasters and our chairs with a cushion. I did do the aluminium chairs for my barbecue setting, and it took the paint really well. So sorry, there's rain everywhere. We had a couple of weeks of rain, which I've been trying to wait for the sun. So as soon as the sun came out, I was outside. You can see it's still wet everywhere. I would have power washed if it hadn't been raining, but there you can see the fence, the umbrella, and our cover and cushion and resin and side table. Now there's another project. I had to put a new bar in to get out of the pool, and there's the pallet that's going to make the box that I need to put inside the greenhouse. So there's a few things left to do outside still. There's our fence. So that's the refresh so far. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
With you and I, the future is bright.